All-Star Snubs, Yankee Scrubs, and a whole lot more on this episode of Closers. What's going on, everybody? James the Greek over here, and let's bring in Mr. 69, David Aardsma. DA, what's going on, pal? How are you?
I am outside again, Arizona, like sweating. I've been out here for like 10 minutes, and I'm already sweating. It is 95 and getting hotter every single minute. James, save me.
Save you? I can't save myself, and every time I try to do something, you yell at me.
Look at this. I actually have a Pepsi. I don't drink soda at all, but I know I'm going to be losing. I don't know what this provides, but I'm going to be losing that during the show. And James, and this is going to be fun because I'm at the golf course again, doing it from the golf course while DZ, my oldest, is out here hopefully getting better or getting worse, actually, because he beat me in golf. So hopefully he's getting worse and I can actually beat him.
What's your handicap these days?
They're going to be delivering me food during the show. How about that?
Oh, nice. I'm actually shocked that you have a styrofoam cup. You don't see those often.
Yeah. Well, this is in New York, right? So we actually have plastic straws.
We have those.
You do? Because I was in LA or I was in San Diego last weekend, and they can't give you plastic straws.
Yeah, well, it was like that for a while, and now they're going back to plastic straws. It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, because paper straws stink so far. I actually don't mind the ones that are a little bit like biodegradable ones. Those at least last enough like for you to drink something, but the paper ones just fall apart.
Yeah, they're the worst. I was almost at the point where I was going to buy one of those metal straws and keep it in my car just in case I needed to drink something.
Yeah,
really
I can see that.
Yeah. All right. Let's get started with a little baseball talk today. The All-Star Game is approaching. We are less than a week away, and there have been some questionable calls on who made the All-Star Game. David, we see right now on the graphic who is up there, and we'll talk about him last because I know both of us have some thoughts on it. Was there anybody that just jumped out at you that didn't make the All-Star Game that really should have?
One that jumping out to me, Framer Valdez, not making the All-Star Game is a huge one for me that he is not on it. That doesn't make any sense to me. Is having a great year, great start to the season. He should definitely be there. Say Suzuki as well. It should be an all-star. And the other one I know you love this guy. I love him. Junior Caminero.
That's funny. Okay, so I have three of them too, and all of them are really good ideas. But it's funny that the three guys that I picked aren't those guys. So like it's really cool that way. And we didn't even discuss this before the show. My first guy, Michael Busch. He did not make the All-Star Game, but Freddie Freeman did. As a starter, which doesn't make any sense to me because it should have been Pete Alonso as a starter. Agreed?
I believe Pete Alonso should be an all-star starter. I can't argue with starters. I should have been starters, yes. But the fans, I like this. The fans get to see who they want to see. And they want to see Freddie Freeman. I can never argue with starter or not starter. You're an all-star, you're not an all-star. I've got a lot bigger problem with just not being on the team. Being a starter, yes. Fans should be higher educated in who they should be picking. At the same time, I just want them to make the team, and the fans want to see who they want to see. So if you want to see Javier Baez in center field, or in outfield, go see Javier. See Javier Baez. I don't know why, but go for it. Or if you want to see Freddie Freeman, I've got no problem with you seeing an ex-MVP and superstar and World Series incredible stud. I can't argue with it, but I'm much more problem with not being an all-star than I ever am about not starting.
See, I got a problem with the fan vote because the fans never get it right. I remember years ago there was this reliever with back-to-back 30-save seasons, Mr. 69, never made an All-Star Game. So how can I respect the fans' vote?
The fans don't vote for that, brother.
Well, they should have written you in somehow. You should have made the All-Star Game.
Fans don't get to pick relievers. And then if they did, all it would be is like still be Mariano Rivera probably.
Fair enough. Let me just get back to the first base question that I made. So we have three guys over here. Michael Busch, Freddie Freeman, Pete Alonso. Michael Busch's WAR, 3.5. Pete Alonso's 3.3. Freddie Freeman's 1.8. The only place that Freddie Freeman is currently leading those two guys is in batting average, and he's got 299 to Michael Busch's 297, Pete Alonso's 290. And then on base percentage is Michael Busch. Slugging, Michael Busch. OPS, Michael Busch. OPS plus, Michael Busch. Michael Busch has a 170 OPS. Freddie Freeman has a 139. How in the hell did he not make the All-Star game?
Well, I don't want to compare it again. I don't want to compare it to Freddie Freeman. Can't compare it to Freddie Freeman because that's what the fans wanted. And again, that's not like the worst pick in the world. And having better stats, yes, should push you to the All-Star game, and it makes a great argument. But when they're close, that's where I can't really argue with you. They're close. Okay, so pick the dude who's always been an all-star and is so consistent, not just like the first time popping up. And that was a lot of time like my argument, how I justified it with myself not making an all-star team. In 2009, I should have, without a doubt. But I started looking going like everyone else besides like one guy was an all-star pretty consecutively. Like they deserve it. Like I've had a great first half. They've had a great career. I get it. But when these stats are that close, Michael Busch, though, is incredible. 18 home runs, 56 RBIs, 297 average, slugging over 566. It's great. Everything he's doing, he deserves it. I don't want to wish this upon anybody, but I wish somebody gets hurt so he gets to be in there.
Well, he probably wouldn't get in there anyway because there's another guy who would be named the reserve probably before that. So
probably
because he wants his money. All right, let me go to my second guy. Randy Arozarena should have probably gotten in over Julio. Their numbers are very, very close. And I know Julio plays a better outfield than Randy Arozarena, but OPS plus for Randy Arozarena is 133. For Julio, it's 102.
Yes. And Randy Arozarena basically beat him in almost every single category, having a better year. When it gets to the player and like the manager picks, I don't understand where picks like this happen. And I think this is where I kind of look at it and say, this is Major League Baseball a little bit, probably pushing and saying, who can we sell?
Yeah.
Who does it look better? And who do we think is going to end up having a better career? So it's important that they get the All-Star game, like little check mark next to their name. I don't like that. I just give me the guys who earn it right now, because Julio hasn't, and Randy versus Julio has definitely done it.
Yep. And finally, one of your favorite players in baseball that I'm surprised you didn't pick, Mr. Suarez.
Yes.
Dude.
Ranger Suarez. And you know what this comes down to? I think, like, if I remember right, his first start really sucked. But how do you have a guy who has a 1.99 ERA? 7-2 with a 1.99 ERA and absolutely lighting it up, not be an all-star. Trey Turner too. Here's a name we haven't even talked about. Trey Turner is hitting almost 300 right now. He's first among shortstops. How about this? First among National League shortstops in average, hits, second stolen bases, doubles. I was going to say second bases. He's second in runs, second in triples, and third in OPS amongst shortstops. That's like
should be there.
Where are we missing this? Like these, and Ranger Suarez across the league has been just so dominant. How do we, as a manager and players, miss these guys? Like if I'm the manager, if I'm Dave Roberts, how do I not look at that and go, dang? Like even if you're not going to pitch in it, pick you as an all-star. You're not going to pitch, so I'm going to get somebody else or something like that. However that works. That stuff like that bothers me because I don't care. To me, like he might win the Cy Young.
Yeah.
And if he didn't have a bad first start, he would be, or have two names that are bigger than him on the same rotation, he would be the favorite for the Cy Young right now.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that first start because my problem with the All-Star game has always been that, you know, everybody's paying attention in the beginning of the season. So that first month, if you have a great month, odds are you're going to be an all-star. People forget after that second month to take a look at what they've done since that beginning hot streak. Take a look at the next guy we're going to talk about, Juan Soto. He started off the season in the toilet, but now he's amongst the best in baseball, and he didn't make the team. That is not a coincidence to me. But before we go to the Soto thing, I did want to ask you about the fan vote one more time about one thing. Did the fans screw up in the National League at the starting shortstop position? Because me personally, even though I'm a Met fan, I want to see Ellie. I don't want to see Mr. Smile. I love Lindor, but Ellie's got to be there. If you're going to be promoting the game, it's got to be Ellie. Your thoughts?
Yes, I think Ellie De La Cruz should be starting shortstop over Lindor. But again, I also look at what the Mets have done in general, and he's the captain of that team. He's the leader of it.
Not officially.
And I always look at this too. Like you're the starting all-star shortstop until you're not.
Yeah.
And Ellie is the next in line, but he still has steps he needs to take to go to that next level. And I don't mind on this, but again, it probably should be Trey Turner.
It's very possible. But it's funny that you say you're the starting shortstop until you're not, because Francisco Lindor didn't even make the All-Star game the last 2 years. So the fact that he didn't make the team last year or the year before, and now he's a starter when, I don't know. Maybe I think it's more of the New York fans, because there's so many more of them voting him in for the last couple of years because of the last couple of years him not making it.
Hey, I look at this like the A's got a dude in, like a starter in.
Yes,
the Tigers have gotten starters in. So I don't think the Met fan base is that much larger than other fan bases by any means.
Really?
I really don't think so. I don't think the Mets fan base is that much larger at all when you go across the country, because when I'm out here, there's Phillies all over the place. Now, again, it's more than the Reds, but it's social media fan voting. If you wanted Ellie De La Cruz, it's not that hard to get Ellie De La Cruz to start the game. It really isn't. The fact that James Wood is not starting, there's a huge Nationals fan base.
Yeah,
there's no way Jacob Wilson is starting this All-Star game if we're talking about size of fan bases. It's enthusiasm of fan base. And when the Mets are good, there's nothing more enthusiastic than a Mets fan, even though in the back of their mind they still think they're going to lose. And it's going to fail, and you're going to drive this car off a cliff. But enthusiastic fan bases get you all-star starters. That's where I have a problem with James Wood, and that's where I have a problem with some of these other guys like the Reds. Just there's not enthusiasm yet about that team. If they're next year and they're actually in the place where you thought they would be this year, which I think they will be too, then you're going to see a huge push for Reds. You're going to see a big push for Reds because there's going to be an enthusiasm about that team. If they're in second place right now and they were above where they're at, I think there'd be a bigger push.
Okay. And finally, we're going to go to the guy who's on the screen, Juan Soto. And he had some very interesting thoughts after they asked him, do you have a problem not making the All-Star game? Play the clip.
What do you think?
I don't know. Some people want to take vacation.
I mean, I think it's a lot of money on the table if I make it.
I love this guy. I absolutely love him. I know you might have a problem with it, but for me, you know what? Honesty is the best policy. And yes, $100,000 is a lot of freaking money. You can buy houses for 2 of your family members in the Dominican with that $100,000. Granted, he has $700 million, but you know who doesn't care about $100,000? People who are going to lose that $700 million. Lenny Dykstra didn't care about $100,000. Where is he now?
I don't think he cares about $100,000. I don't think he actually cares about $100,000. I think he cares about his legacy and where that actually stands. I don't know if he just cares about every single penny.
I love him for it.
But I don't think he actually cares about the dollars. I don't think he cares about the $100,000. To him, it's just, I didn't get that money, even though I should deserve that money. He just wants every single thing he can get. I don't like it. I think it's the dumbest answer he could have ever given. I think it's the most selfish answer he could have ever given. And I don't think he actually cares. I think, to me, that's losing the whole reason to be an all-star. He's going to get the $100,000. Like, that's 0.02% of his paycheck. And I get it. People want to talk about paychecks. I don't like talking about paychecks. But that's exactly why I don't like talking about it, because he's so stupid that's what he's so focused on, instead of just saying, yes, I think I deserved it. I want to be an all-star. I want to represent. I want to represent the Mets. I want to. You still have to understand what to say and why fans. You want to be a Met for life. Say something like, it's disappointing because there should be another Met in the All-Star game. We're too good of a team. We're too good of a fan base. We're too great of an organization to not have another Met here in this All-Star game so we can kick the AL's ass. Say something like that. What I don't get is when you're a superstar with the Mets in this day and age, how they don't have people just hyping him up like a WWE superstar. He's not. Juan Soto, if he wants to be the heel, be the heel. Be Bryce Harper. If you want to be Bryce Harper, like, have fun being the heel, being the guy who'll fire you up. Like, I've got no problem with that. But like when you say it's about the money, but then you said you didn't pick New York Mets because about money, that to me starts going like this. Like, just be concise on your narrative. If it's about the money, then say I picked the New York Mets because of the money, not because of anything else. But that's not what we heard in the offseason. We kept hearing about, I wanted best place for my family, best place for the organization in the future. I wanted to care about that my family would have a great place and I'd be home for the rest of my career and all this stuff. And he mentioned money, like, yeah, like I'm going to get the same money wherever I go. But now it's about $100,000. Like, that's how petty you want to be in the case of how large, like, yes, $100,000 would have made a big difference for me, but it makes a tiny difference. But I love that you want to care about that, but care about it because you deserve it. But that's only because you were good enough to make it and that you wanted to represent the team. Making the All-Star team is about representing your team and representing who you are as a player and all that stuff. That's what it should be. Number one, the money is the bonus. Money is a bonus. The money shouldn't be the driver. And when it's about the driver, then your messaging just gets screwed up, James.
No, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I don't want another Ebby Calvin LaLoosh. I don't want Derek Jeter speak. Oh, it's such an honor to go to the All-Star game. I wish I was an All-Star.
Fire it up a little bit. Rile it up. Be like the Mets deserve another All-Star, and you know what? I'm going to take it out on the rest of the league that they didn't pick me to be an All-Star. You know what? Roll with it. Have some fun with it. You don't need to. Jeter never won. Did Jeter not make an All-Star team? No,
but what I'm saying is the Jeter speak where he spoke and it was always the Ebby Calvin LaLoosh garbage. You know, if God willing, the team makes it.
But to be a WWE dude, like, rile it up a little bit. Like, and you know, like, if you're going to talk about the money, then have fun with it too. Be like, that's another $100,000. You know what? That's a couple limo rides. And just say something that's so outlandish, like, that's a limo ride I could have paid for. And be like, wait, $100,000, and then that would have been the story. He pays $100,000 for a limo ride, and then it's fun, and go with it. Be the heel, like, be the $1 million man, right? Own it, have fun with it, but don't give me the $1 million man when you're like in a pensive, like, I should have gotten that $100,000.
So, are you telling me that Juan Soto needs to have a manservant with him at all time named Virgil? That would be
hilarious. That would be the funniest thing if he just go with Major League Baseball. I get it. You can't go too far with it, but just have fun with it and be the guy, or be the blue collar worker that the Mets are. The Mets want a dirty blue collar worker that's okay with coming off the field and dirt just being up and down your uniform. They want somebody that's going to play harder, work harder, and do everything that he actually does. You can't message that and come back with, well, I deserve that. That's $100,000 on the table when you're the richest man in the sport. So don't give me that and then act like you're a blue collar worker guy. And then you're in A-Rod zone where we don't know who you are.
You know what I want? From now on, I want him to have a manservant. Anytime a reporter asks him a question, answer him.
That'd be hilarious. And it would rile people up and people would hate it. And then you would get a whole nother group of people that would love it. And it would create this like crazy dynamic, and you would be the most talked about person ever. And just go have fun with it. At the same time, be a great teammate. That's all we care about in the clubhouse is, are you a good teammate or not? Like, can I put my cleats next to you and actually want to listen to you or hang out with you? I don't care what you do in front of cameras. Like, that's why I loved Barry Bonds. I put a cleats on next to him, way across from him. But at the end of the day, he was a great teammate to me, and is a great teammate to anybody that never challenged him.
Or sat in his lazy boy.
Yes, and don't wake him up. It's I want a good teammate. I don't care what you do in front of cameras. I don't care if you're Albert Bell and want to elbow somebody in the face. I just want you to be in that locker room, me to like you. And then we go out on the field and you work your ass off. And we do know Juan Soto works his ass off when he gets on that field and he steps on it, unlike Rafael Devers. We'll talk about that later. Just give me the likable blue collar Met, or give me the Yankee who wants $100,000, because he's talking like a Yankee while being a Met. Like, right? Like, would you ever hear David Wright say that? I get it. David Wright always had like the company lines and was perfect. And I know it, and it's boring. But okay, let's go back in the day. Like, would Darryl Strawberry or Doc or one of these guys talk about $100,000 and that being a lot of money and not making an All-Star game? Yes, but they would do it with a chip on their shoulder. And
no, they would do it with a rock on their shoulder.
What'd you say?
They would do it with a rock on their shoulder, not a chip, because it'd be a crack rock.
Laughing about it because they were so like suave about, like so like smooth about it, and not like, don't be a penta, like you just signed a. Don't talk about the money when you just became the richest man, right? That's the biggest thing we hate, is the richest man in the room talking about amount of money that anybody else in the room would have been dying about.
But how does the richest man in the room stay the richest man in the room? By getting what he deserves.
Focused on it, without a doubt, from an internal standpoint and a mental standpoint and a work ethic standpoint. Focus on it, and you know what? He does that better than almost anybody else in baseball. But from a conversation standpoint, the richest man in the room can't be petty about $100,000. The richest man in the room is burning the $100,000, saying, "I'm going to make way more than that today."
Sounds like our president.
You know what? If he said this, it's $100,000, and that's a lot of money being left on the table. But you know what? I'm going to go earn that today when I go out here and win a game for the Mets. Let's go. Like,
now, you want to change it. Now, if you're Juan Soto and you want to change the entire narrative, all you would have to do is add a few words to what he said. Because I would have given it to charity.
Oh, my. And you know what? That's the first thing I thought of when he said it. Because that money was going to go to the Mets fund. That money was going to go to disabled children. That money I was actually planning on sending down to the Dominican, to so-and-so family. Just make it up. Even if he's not really going to do it. Just make it up. This is why media training is so important. You're going to be like, dude, all right, you didn't make the All-Star game. Let's talk about it. How does that make you feel? And you're like, dude, I'm pissed. That's $100,000. Like, okay. Take a breath, Juan. It's $100,000. But what are we going to do with that $100,000? Well, I would have
bought an ivory back scratcher.
But that's where these teams need to do such a better job with these players, is teaching them how to do this. And this is why some other organizations and businesses and sports like win on social media, is they don't let them say that without knowing the answer, but why the $100,000 matters. To us, it sounds like he's a petulant little prick that wants to make every single dollar, and that's all he ever cared about, and that's all he'll ever be. Versus that $100,000, dude, I had written a check already to a charity down for that, because I had played like an all-star. But you know what? They're gonna get that money anyways. I'm gonna go kick somebody's ass. Let's go. Who's that next pitcher? And like, you would have just turned it and flipped it, and everyone would be like, that's so cool. Like, how do you even like rebound from that?
No, you can rebound plenty of ways. But I digress. All right, David, we kind of went a little long on the whole All-Star stuff, so I want to do this really brief. So I'm going to give you, as soon as I'm done talking, I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and you tell me why you still believe in the Yankees, because I'm looking at the Yankees, okay? And what do we have over here? We have a whole bunch of guys who are playing out of a position. DJ LeMahieu just got DFA'd. Bye.
He gone.
So now your third baseman is Oswald Peraza for the time being. So you don't have a stick over there. Then you look around the infield. You have Austin Wells, who's having a fine year, 14 home runs, hitting, 226, which isn't exactly great. but only a 106 OPS plus. So when you see the home runs and you see a 106 OPS plus, what do you see? You see a guy who's hitting a lot of cheap home runs in Yankee Stadium. Paul Goldschmidt was hitting about 370, 380 in the first month of the year, and now he's hitting 290 because he hit somewhere in the 150s in June. Volpe has been a joke. Their bullpen has been a joke, and now you lost Clark Schmidt. How do you still believe in this Yankee team? Go.
How do I still believe in the Yankee team? Because they lost 6 games in a row. I get it, but then now they've won 3 games in a row. This is the up and downs of the team. They're still playing. They're still a second place team in the AL East. Are going to end up being first place probably by the second week of after the All-Star break, because they're just better than everybody else when they step on the field. Even when these guys aren't playing great, they're still a competitive team. That's the crazy part about this. Even when they're not a good team, they're still a good team. Yes, Clark Schmidt just went on the deal, and they brought up some dude who absolutely shoves at 100 miles per hour and pitched great and got the dub yesterday. Rodon's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. Max Fried's
hold on one second.
Arguably one of the best pitchers in the AL right now. That entire lineup in the last 7 days is going off like crazy. This is the normal lull of a season, and they're going to be just fine when they get to the playoffs.
Okay. I just want to mention
they need help in the bullpen is what they really need.
They need a bullpen. They need a third baseman, and they could use another starting pitcher. Rodon, though, I was talking about Rodon the other day. He has done a wonderful job this year, but what really pissed me off was they should have won that second game against the Mets. Rodon versus Montas, you should have had the edge over there, and he got his butt handed to him. I do not trust him in the big spot, and that's a big problem for me when I look at Rodon.
That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to trust him in a big spot. I'm okay with that. I do enough because he's stepped up in other big spots throughout the season and done well. Marcus Stroman is a fill-in at this point, and they're still able to compete against everybody in the league, even with a lot of these things that we can talk about it being down. I believe that lineup's going to come back better. They're going to get some health in that rotation, and we'll see. But he'll hopefully at some point comes back and stuff like that. They're going to get some help there, but this is the Yankees. They're going to go get a reliever or two and possibly a starter. I don't think that lineup's in that dire straits, but they will get better.
Okay. Now, we are talking about them getting better at the trade deadline, July 31st, and we will go crazy with that next week and the following week talking about that. But there is one guy that everybody's talking about that I do not understand why it's even a possibility to be traded. Maybe you see something that I don't. And I'm talking about the amazing outfielder in Atlanta, Ronald Acuña Jr. Okay, so Ronald Acuña Jr. signed one of the best best contracts for the team in all of baseball, 8 years, $100 million. He still has 1 year left on it next year, and then 2 more club options for $17 million. This is the cheapest you're going to get a superstar. The guy is 27. He's at his peak right now. Why in the hell would the Braves consider trading him?
So a lot of those reasons why is exactly why. A lot of those things that you're saying that they shouldn't trade him for is exactly why people are even talking about that trade. Okay, so where do the Braves sit right now, right? They are 13 games back, 11 games under 500. They are in the wild card spot. They are well behind a lot of teams, and it's just we're sitting there 9.5 games from the wild card at that point, including the Padres ahead of them, the Marlins, which is whatever. The Marlins are ahead, the Diamondbacks, Reds, which I'm not too worried about, but the Cardinals and Padres are real legit teams that are ahead of them.
Yes.
So they're behind the 8 ball on the wild card. They're not getting better. Last year they sucked as well. I believe in the Braves, but I don't know if anybody else does at this point, including a lot of people in the Braves. So if I'm thinking about trading somebody, and I'm thinking about trading Ronald Acuña Jr., the best thing you ever look for as a team like the Braves is a super friendly deal, because you're going to get crazy players on the back end. You're going to get so many team-controlled players and so many young prospects, so much position. Like, you're going to improve this Braves organization tenfold by this is, but I'm not saying they absolutely will, but this is the type of player that you do that with. This is a Juan Soto positioned type of trade. It's not necessarily a Juan Soto type player because he's been injured multiple times coming off the knee, so you still don't know some of that. But you have such a team-friendly contract that everybody else in the league is going to like, dude, God, like, what do we have to give up to get him? Versus, do we want that contract? Do we want this? Because everything about Ronald Acuña is a yes. Maybe the knees are a little bit of a no to some people, but he's playing so well that I don't think they care. But everything is such a yes that another team, it's going to be hard to, if the Braves sit there and say yes to teams and like, hey, well, listen, they're going to get some crazy offers. Okay. And they're going to be all contenders, or even people that think they're contending next year or even 2 years down the line, because it's such an interesting contract that you own him. And you own him at a peak point. It's not even a rental player. This usually guy hits the market as a rental. He's an ownership type deal for way little money. And so we're looking at it going, the Braves can restock with one player.
Okay. Now, what if they don't restock in the traditional way? Because we know how these trades would go. You're looking for a Juan Soto type return where you're getting a whole bunch of young players, but it's very rare that you get the type of return that the Nationals actually got. Usually they don't pan out. Excuse me. So what about this? What if the Braves trade Acuna and a couple of prospects to the Pittsburgh Pirates for Reynolds and Skeens?
I wouldn't do it.
Why?
I wouldn't do it if I'm them. I'm like, I'm going even.
For who?
Either one of them.
Oh, I disagree.
Pirates? I don't. For Reynolds and Skeens, I get it. Skeens is a generational talent. So is Acuna.
Yeah.
So is Acuna. So is what Acuna is doing. So and that,
I'll tell you why.
Is you're going to end up having to give Skeens $300, $400, $500 million, and the Braves don't do that. Plus, okay, cool. I'm even, but you're going to get. You can get 6 players probably for Acuna right now. 5.
But most of them don't pan out. That's the problem that I have with it. So if I'm the Braves, I'm getting back one of the best young pitchers in baseball that in a few years I could sign, or I could...
Okay, but why would the Pirates do it?
I'll explain why. Because they're going to get a middle of the lineup, great player, one of the top 5 players in baseball when he's healthy, under contract for 3 years at $17 million. They cannot get a player like that. When was the last time they had a significant middle of the lineup guy?
Those trades like this don't help either team. They don't make either team actually any better, because the only thing that would help the Pirates are a ton of prospects. The only thing that would really help the Braves when you're losing the number one guy in your middle of your lineup are a ton of prospects. You don't get even trades like this on teams that need a lot to get better. This sounds great. This would be a perfect trade. I'm restocking
my rotation, and I'm getting
for 2 teams that are like the Braves and a team that's in the playoff hunt. Cool. When you have if that playoff hunt team had another pitcher, but because that helped them, okay, they answered a need and they gave up a strength. But when you're looking at teams that both have huge needs in places, that doesn't help anybody by just shifting superstars, because you still have the same problem. Like, then the Pirates still can't win games because they got rid of their starting pitchers. And the Braves still can't win games because they got rid of the middle of the lineup guy. So you're not helping anybody.
I disagree, because
you're just shifting superstars. That's only helps playoff contending teams.
You're getting 75% of Ronald Acuña's production in Brian Reynolds, and then you're restocking your starting rotation for the next few years.
But you just lost in the run differential. Like, you're not necessarily improving anywhere significantly, where versus losing. And that's the problem with these trades. When we talk about teams that are already out of it, they're not going to trade with a team that's out of it, because then you're just evening up. Like the Braves need 5 players. The Pirates need 5 players. So if you're ever going to give up that guy, you don't need major league ready talent, because that's not going to help a team that's 11 games below 500 when you already have an MVP candidate player that you're giving up. So you're 11 games below 500, giving up the MVP candidate for the Cy Young candidate, who doesn't help you score runs, and then Brian Reynolds, who like maybe 75% of Ronald Acuña. So you're not actually winning anything there. Or I can give up Acuna and get 5 players in return, and that fill multiple needs. And that's how the Rays win games. They don't give up to go get a major league talent player. They go give up a Shields or go give up anybody to get 5 players in return. That's how you restock, and that's how championship teams restock, is by when they give up when they have the lower budget teams, when they give up those players and get 5-6 in return. That's the only way you can.
Right, but you look at most of those trades, and out of those 5 or 6 players, maybe 1 or 2 hits. That's my problem with it. All right, let's move off from my first proposal. You know the other 2 teams that I'm going to say immediately, right? I'm going to talk about Seattle, and I'm going to talk about Baltimore. Those are the 2 teams that should be making those moves.
That makes sense. That's the thing, is you can give up. You're giving up prospects for superstar, and you're replacing, like, where you're replacing your team is with better. And so now, like the Orioles, 100%. I would do that in a heartbeat, because I'm going to give up a couple prospects that might become Acuna one day for Acuna. Perfect. And now I'm replacing. I'm not replacing major league talent for major league talent and evening up across the board. I need an Acuna in that lineup because I need that production, and I can give up some things I don't know if they're going to work. The Braves are like, hell yeah, give me 3 prospects, those superstar prospects, and we'll take our time and see if they work. Because if we hit on 2 of those 3, we're a better team for that. The Braves wouldn't be a better team by losing him and then gaining and doing all that stuff. Now, the Mariners, same thing. I'd be giving up the house for him, because I'm giving up potential for known. I can't give up, like the Braves. If I'm the Mariners, I can't give up, 2 of my starting pitcher and a bat for Acuna. Then I'm not getting better. I'm getting even. If not worse, and hoping I stay better. Like, I can't give up Julio Rodriguez and a starting pitcher. I can't, because I still, no matter what Julio's been, I still need him.
Right, because
and
you're
I need that starting pitcher, because I'm not winning in the aggregate. You have to win, and you have to get better in the aggregate, and give up prospects.
But there's a difference between the 2 teams. You said you wouldn't trade Julio and a starting pitcher.
No,
to the Braves, which I understand. Because you're competing. Seattle's competing. Pittsburgh's not. Okay? Pittsburgh is going to be able to have a middle lineup guy. Now, Baltimore, to me, is the most intriguing, because you have all those prospects that they've been hoarding like nuts in their mouth like a squirrel.
But the Mariners are about to be at that point, too. The Mariners have one of the best prospects in all the best organization in baseball in the minor leagues. Give those up for Acuna. Because exactly like Duquette always said, like, prospects are nice, rings are better, right? Or whatever it is. So get rid of those prospects. That's the trade. But you can't do 2 crappy teams and trade superstars. It doesn't help anybody.
Disagree, but that's cool. All right. Speaking of superstars that went to different teams, let's talk about a dickhead named Rafael Devers. This freaking guy, man. I was one of the people who was saying, I can understand Devers' point of view. He was a superstar. They didn't talk to him before the Bregman signing, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, I understood that part. But now you go to San Francisco. You said all the right things in the beginning, and now you had one of the greatest first basemen in the history of the game in Will Clark trying to teach you first base, and you stood him up not once, not twice, but thrice.
Boston, and you have an opportunity to meet him.
Right. So Matt Williams and Bob Melvin want me to go out there and work with him around first base. No problem. And we weren't gonna like go through anything physical. We're just going to walk through and say, hey, look, if throw's coming from over there, stand this way. If throw's coming from over there, stand that way. It wasn't going to be this big thing, right? And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, he did not come out early at all, period. Not at all. Matter of fact, he didn't even hit on the field, right? And everybody's like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, Will. I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, don't worry about it. I said, I know what the fuck happened. I said, he didn't want to go out and be at first base and be 20 feet in front of their freaking dugout with, what went on in Boston. And now he's working with me at first base. He didn't want to have to go through all that bullshit through the press and the media. And so, anyway, so I completely understand. But Rafael Devers, the next time I'm in San Francisco, your ass will be on the field at first base. Just letting you know that. Just from the
but if he's not going to go out, he's going to tell you.
Hey, look, even if I got to go grab you by the fucking back of the neck and drag your ass out there, you
gotta love the thrill.
Still love it. So underrated too with how good he was at first base and how good of a player he was. Like he gets when we talk about him, we're like he's a stud, but underrated in the generation now doesn't know how much of a stud he was.
Yeah, it's funny because when you think now, most people our age, when you think about the Giants, first name is Barry. But before Barry, the face of that organization was Will Clark. No question.
Yes.
I mean, during the 80s.
Well, like in that generation.
Yeah, of that generation. He was that guy.
Yes, 100%.
Like Don Mattingly with the Yankees at that time. Just unbelievable. Actually, kind of similar. Both great hitters, both amazing defensively. Neither one of them really gets the credit they deserve because Will Clark's not a Hall of Famer, is he? I don't think so.
No, not even close.
No. But as far as talent, that kind of caliber.
Without a doubt. Talent just didn't have any of those numbers that were, if anything, it would have been hits over time that would have gotten them in. He was a 3,000 hit candidate kind of guy. Like that's what we look at him, and defensive gem. And he never had those just couple 3 years that just stood out where he's a MVP candidate, just like he never, there's always somebody a little bit better statistically, and but he was so good.
Yeah. By the way, Bill Mazeroski is in the Hall of Fame and Will Clark's not. That's a little bothersome to me.
Yeah, errors committee type of all that stuff. But
we didn't mention it. The guy in the video with him, of course, was one of your former teammates, Mr. Burns.
Not teammate for long, he was a teammate. He was, one of my most enjoyable teammates of all time. Someone who was, I believe, crazy all the time. But I love Eric Burns.
What a great locker room. Milton Bradley and Eric Burns.
Oh, God. Oh. And then Cliff Lee on the exact opposite side of all that, too, like where you're just rolling his eyes every day at those guys. Anyways, Rafael Devers, what a mess. What a mess. God. I do understand Will trying to create the excuse for him, and I understand that, too. When you're out there, it is a big monster when you go out and the media is all on the field. Cameras are because they're sitting there waiting for the manager. The manager usually does his every day they talk to the media, and it's usually in the dugout because it's so easy. It's open. The cameras can kind of set up, and reporters can all get around them and answer questions. That's when you do pregame work too. And so if you're doing pregame work, those cameras aren't on the manager; they're on Rafi Devers. And with everything that he had left Boston with, all of that baggage was, I'm not playing first base. And then the moment he gets there, he's at first base getting work. Kind of kills his narrative, and kind of what we talked about. Soto kills the narrative. So what do? You just become a dick and don't go out there. I actually think a lot of this, if that's the real reason, that's on the Giants for not closing practice, for not doing it behind closed doors, close that practice and let that happen, and then open it up to media. If the media ask why, you can just make up some excuse. Hey, we had a closed practice and we didn't want anybody out there. You don't need to ever know. They can guess and then ask questions later, and then maybe a week later you say, yes, it was Devers out there practicing first base. Once you introduce him as first base, but that never happened. So these type of things are showing and proving why Breslow had to get rid of this dude. This dude cares about him and his image more than he cares about playing baseball and cares about the love of the game and his team. He cares. The name on the back is the only name he really cares about, and he cares about the image of the name on the back. I understand caring about the name of the back more than the name of the front. I understand. Games have changed. Day is different, and you got to worry about yourself because it's a business more than it ever was, and you have to focus on that. But when you're part of this type of thing, this is like you want to start new, you want to start fresh. Be like, all right, hey, I'm starting new, starting fresh, starting a new place here. I'm excited about this journey, and you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And you say that, and you come out and you give it a chance and see if you can play this. Because I'll tell you what, he pigeonholed himself into a DH for the rest of his career, and those numbers better be really hella good. Because you can have a great career as a very good defensive first baseman if you want to. You can have great careers of great hitting DH if you want to. But if any of those go down on the hitting side, like we need more out of you. Why am I going to give you a contract?
Yeah, what? I mean, if he continues being a douche and his numbers don't go up, guess what? He'll be making videos on YouTube with Trevor Bauer.
Well, and guess what, Rafi? Like you just went to San Francisco. Those numbers aren't going to go up.
No,
Power's going to go down big time. Slugging's going to go down big time. You might get a couple more doubles, but home runs are not going to happen. You will not be. I bet he will not be at. I'm guessing 27 home runs is my plus or minus. He needs 10 more home runs for the rest of the year. I bet he doesn't get 10 more home runs.
Oh, I'll take that bet. I bet you
take 10. It. 27.
Yeah, I say I'll take above 27.
Okay, let's right here.
You're saying 10.
I'll take below 27 home runs.
Okay, I'll take over.
I'll take 27 and below because I said he won't go above 27. I'll get 27 and below.
Okay. What do you want to bet on it?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. Okay. Now let me ask you another question though. With all this hullabaloo going on, what are the guys in the locker room saying now about Devers? Because all of a sudden comes in, oh yeah, I'm going to play first base. I'm a decent human being, blah, blah, blah. And now he just made Will Clark look like a fool. What are the rest of the guys in the clubhouse saying?
They knew it. They knew that right when that happened. Here's the thing is they knew when Rafael Devers didn't show up that first day, every single guy in the clubhouse knew it. When Rafi didn't show up the second day, they were talking behind his back. And when Rafi Devers showed up the third day, somebody else needed to have that conversation with him. Somebody should have walked over that locker room. Willie Damas, Matt Chapman. I don't know who it might be. Yaz. I don't know who's that locker room guy, right? Because a lot of times it's somebody you don't expect who's been there a little while, or just is like the company man, is a leader behind the scenes, and should have walked over to the locker room and said, "Hey, let's talk. Let's get out here." So maybe a Latino guy, and just said, "Hey, let's work, man. Like your new face, new whatever. We love having you here, but we got to work." And by the way, the last player in Giants history to hit 30 home runs was Barry Bonds in 2004. Good luck.
Okay. I believe in Rafi.
Pence hit 27. Huff hit 26. Like Barry hit 45 in 2004, and that's the last one. How many years ago that was.
That's a player I miss. I miss Milf Hunter Pence.
21 years, maybe. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the last player to hit 30 home runs as a San Francisco Giant.
I think you're 100% correct.
Good luck. That's 30.
I still think you can do it.
To say Boston, bro. Like people talk about dimensions of fields, and I hate one of the worst things I hate in the world is when people talk about dimensions of fields and like this would be a home run there, that would be a home run there. The only ballpark that home run, the Patrick Bailey ground inside the park home run, only one that wasn't a home run was San Francisco, dude. Like I'll never forget when the Boston Red Sox traded for Adrian Gonzalez or signed Adrian Gonzalez, right? Yep. That's one thing. And they go, he hit these X number of home runs and balls in San Diego would have been home runs in Boston. And I fell for it. And I'm like, dude, those are going to be bombs. And he didn't. And like his home run numbers went down or something like that. Whatever it was. And I'm like, dude, that does, because every stadium ball fly is different. It just does. While Yankee Stadium right field is a bandbox, left field is it takes a bomb to hit a ball out of left field. Center field, you had a bomb in center field. You had a home run in center field. That's a bomb, dude. And that's one of the shortest center fields, I think, in all of baseball. It just flies different in different aspects. Like right field in San Francisco is short. It's not a huge fly. But you don't hit home runs. Nobody hit home runs in right field in San Francisco. Except just because the air and everything. Except for Barry. And Barry even struggled. I bet if that had a different ballpark, Barry would have hit like probably 80 home runs if it wasn't that ballpark, if it was old Candlestick or something. So don't give me all that BS. But, dude, I don't think he's going to hit 30 home runs. And to close it out, he's a douche. No assholes. You want to win baseball games. You want to win no assholes. Just like in the history of baseball, like there are very few assholes that ever been really successful in locker rooms and like with successful teams. But it takes so many good guys to level out the asshole. And a lot of times even the asshole was such an asshole on the field too that it evened out because you hated playing against them so much more than you hated playing with them. So you're a guy, I'd rather have him on our team than have to play against this dude, right? Like there's assholes that you don't want near you and there's assholes you never want against you. I'd rather take the asshole and never want against me and deal with them. You know, there's so many assholes in this game. Stop signing these guys, get good guys that are team players, and if you're going to have an asshole, get an asshole that's so driven about being an asshole. Like Reggie Jackson. He was an asshole. Nobody liked Reggie Jackson. People still hate Reggie Jackson. It's just that Reggie Jackson was such an asshole to everybody. I'd rather have him be our asshole than their asshole.
That's why you hang out with me.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned,
of course, our landscaping right in front of me now. Like,
okay.
why are you trimming that bush, bro?
It's okay. But since we talked about Barry so much, it's an interesting segue to this week's Mount Rushmore for the San Francisco Giants. Why did one of those guys look like Pablo Sandoval?
It's my favorite part of the show. Just looking at those.
Yeah, Alex does it. Alex and AI do a good job with that. All right,
that was a good one there. That was probably one of the better ones.
Yeah, I like it. All right, David, we mentioned them. Let's get started with your number one, Mr. Barry Bonds. Barry Lamar Bonds.
Yeah, if you couldn't figure out like a couple of names on this, like top like four guys, like come on, you're not paying attention to life or baseball at all. Barry Bonds, the man, the myth, the legend. One thing I love, like yes, he played those like 6 years or 7 years in Pittsburgh, and then every lifer with the Giants. He is the career leader in WAR, career leader in home runs, career leader in walks, career leader in home runs per at bat, probably intentional base on balls. What else? I mean, what has this guy not done in baseball besides not like win a ring, right? So absolutely incredible. 12-time Silver Slugger, like 7-time MVP, 8 Gold Gloves, 2-time batting champs, 14 times All-Star, 3 times Player of the Year. I mean, just it's Barry, like the owner of some of the most amazing stats and seasons in Major League history. You know, like what do you have to say about the greatest player to ever play this game?
Here's what I have to say. You look at Aaron Judge right now and how godly he is and how he is the best hitter in baseball, and it's not even close, and he's not as good as Barry Bonds.
His Aaron Judge's very best, Shohei Ohtani's very best, still is not Barry Bonds.
Well, forget about Shohei Ohtani, because Shohei Ohtani's not the best hitter. He's the best all-around player of all time. But right now, Aaron Judge is by far the best hitter in baseball, and his best is not Barry Bonds.
So what's crazy is 7-time MVP. He also had MVP 2, MVP 4, 12, 5, 5, 8, 2. Wow. I understand. We can have this conversation. Steroids. We get it. Never found guilty of anything. Never tested positive for anything. Was included in Balco and all that. But this whole generation was giant question mark over it. But Barry Bonds is the best hitter of all time, bar none. And you know what? He was the best athlete maybe ever to play baseball. Like
no. He says he's
Junior
not
was
the best
there,
athlete.
but like
he has said it himself.
Who had more stolen bases?
No, but he says that he would take Dion and Bo over him as far as athlete any day. He has said that. I've seen him.
But
I've seen videos.
Great. They're great athletes. They could do more,
Yeah.
but they couldn't do more. They couldn't do what he did. Like, you can say it all you want, because you know what? You put a glove on him and say, hey, go catch that ball, or go do this, go do that. And you know what? They would do it prettier. But Barry did it better.
Okay.
Like, you can say that. We can agree with all this, but you know what? They never did what he did. They couldn't steal as many bases. They couldn't hit as many home runs. They couldn't track down the balls he did. They didn't have the arm he did consistently. They could do it for one time, but Barry did it every time. And that, to me, it means more of a true athlete versus ability. They might have had more ability and looked prettier. There was never a better athlete to play this game, because he could do it every single day. Didn't get hurt, didn't complain, did it. Oh, you complained, but did it. And they never came close on the stolen bases. They never came close to the career because they weren't as good of an athlete.
I disagree. I will see your Barry Bonds, and I'll raise you the number 2 player on your list, who is the greatest athlete of all time in baseball, and that's Say Hey, Willie Mays.
Say Hey, Willie Mays, at the same time, was 200 stolen bases less.
Yes,
Just
but
saying.
did you hear what Willie said when Barry did it?
What?
Willie said, if I knew that was a big deal, I would have stolen more bases.
Oh, he knew it. Don't listen to that. That's just all talk. That he knew that was a big deal. You're telling me Jackie Robinson steals home plate in the playoffs, and he doesn't know that that's a big deal. Stop it. And Ty Cobb made it extremely clear that stolen bases were a big deal.
All right.
That's all. That's all talk, because he didn't want to give Barry the credit for everything. But at the same time,
Godfather, of course you would want to give his godson credit.
yes, and there's a great argument here for Willie Mays maybe being a better athlete. I don't believe so. I just think Willie Mays was a better athlete for longer. Barry shifted his game to power, and that changed everything. At the same time, his numbers even before were probably better for Barry. But Willie Mays absolutely are like Mount Rushmore of all time. He's on that. He's in a conversation for Mount Rushmore of all time. Absolutely incredible.
Any question? I can't think of. Can you think of 3 players better than Willie? I can't.
Well,
for me, it's Barry.
You do. Okay.
It's Barry, Willie, Shohei, and then figure out number 4.
Okay, so then you like Babe Ruth. Then you're talking about like Ty Cobb. You're talking about, we can have this conversation about Pete Rose. You can have a conversation about any pitcher that might even be on this list too.
You got to keep pitchers off of that. It's got to be 2 separate things, in my opinion, personally.
Okay, so we have, but again, all right, then you're talking about Hank Aaron. Then you're talking about these other players, right? But anyways, Willie Mays. Let's get the numbers. 2-time MVP, which is Barry Bonds had 5 more. 12 times Gold Glover, 2-time All-Star MVP, World Series, Rookie of the Year. He only won one batting title, which is crazy, but that was a day and age when batting titles were I don't know if you could even get a batting title back then, because everybody hit really, really well, and there were some amazing hitters in the game. It's still crazy he only had 1 batting title.
Yeah.
But Willie Mays, some of the most greatest moments ever. Say Hey, Millie. It's just everything about I love Willie Mays. Meeting him was incredible. And you're talking about a guy that could have won 7 MVPs, easily could have won 7 MVPs, and barely behind Barry Bonds in WAR. I mean, everything about him was incredible.
All right, number 3.
We're going back in the day, right? Mel Ott, one of the greatest players of all time, doesn't really get a whole lot of conversation when you talk about like greatest players, but man, this dude did everything.
Oh man, you know what I just saw? He died at the age of 49. How is that? What did he die of? I had no idea he died that young.
Being so great.
He's like, I did it all already. I don't need to.
5'9", 170 pounds.
Jesus, that's like Alex hitting home runs.
And he hit 511 home runs. Still leads the franchise in RBIs in 1,860, 304 career batting average, 12-time All-Star, 19 World Series champion.
How did he not win an MVP? Player. How did he never win an MVP? That's what I want to know.
Did they even have MVPs then?
Ready? MVP 11, MVP 10, MVP 5, MVP 20, MVP 6, MVP 7, MVP 4, 11, 19, 3, 20, 16, 13. And you got to see his page on those years that he won.
Black.
There's black everywhere.
Black everywhere. Like the year he led the league in home runs with 36, led OBP, OPS plus, WAR. But like you probably like sit there and go like, what did the other years look like?
All right, you
what
ready?
Those other dudes.
I want you to listen to this. Right, 38 home runs, 123 RBIs, 100 walks, hit 318 with 1025 OPS plus of 174, and he was MVP 10.
OPS plus 1. Okay, so the winner of that year was Chuck Klein. Okay,
household name.
Led the league in runs, led the league in hits, led the league in home runs, led the league in stolen bases, led the league in slugging, led the league in OPS. Pretty good.
Still sick, but think about that. He had all that black, and
the number 2 was a 22-6 pitcher with a 2.3 ERA. But then you get down the line, and until you get to Mel Ott, you don't have a whole lot of like that crazy stands out minus average. So, well, yeah, think back then, average was the deal.
Yeah,
Chuck Klein hit 348. Another guy hit Lefty O'Doul hit 370 basically, and so like average was the number, and so 318 probably didn't seem too impressive.
Crazy.
Even though he tied with Chuck Klein with home runs at 38. Dude, dude went. Oh no, I've seen 14-7, but okay, never mind. I was saying somebody had 28 wins that year, but they didn't.
And then finally, the last player on your Mount Rushmore, some girl named Christy. Maybe like arguably, and some people would probably say maybe one of the best pitchers of all time, Christy Mathewson. I saw something a while back talking about Christy Mathewson that they did some sort of experiment at one point, and based on the numbers and everything, he threw like 108.
Yeah, I don't think the mathing was mathing back then.
I don't think so either.
Delivery, you watch the movement, you're just like, it doesn't. But it's pretty damn incredible. They did something where he threw like. And he threw something and it measured it and something like that. I just don't know if the mathing was quite mathing. But 2 times Triple Crown winner, World Series champion, 5-time ERA title. He ended his career 373 wins.
What a
665 winning percentage. Oh my God, right? 665. Just like the number of black lines on, like one of the best pitchers of all time. Just like the Giants organization, I put them up against anybody, like anybody. The Yankees are obviously the gold standard. I think the Giants 1 through 4 beat them because they have the pitching. I think that, or I'll say this: so 1 through 9 with the Giants, I think it might beat the Yankees or make a great game out of it because they've got so much better pitching than the Yankees ever had in that organization. They're just so much better pitchers, and the hitters are like not far off. I just think the Yankees just had that it factor. Like they walked around a little higher.
I want to read some of the stats from Mathewson. 1905. I'm looking at these numbers and I'm losing my mind. Sorry. How about this one? Let's go to 1908. He had an 11.8 WAR, a 1.43 ERA, 56 games, 44 games started, 34 CGs. Okay, 259 Ks, an ERA plus of 220. Oh, sorry. That was the year before. He had a 1.69 ERA plus. Of course, the next year he had an ERA plus of 224.
Dude.
What?
390 innings, 259 strikeouts. Like, he did everything.
He's got 434 more complete games than Blake Snell.
Yep. Like 220. I mean, here's a 224 ERA plus, 233 ERA plus. You know,
it's absurd.
It's absurd. I get the shutouts and the complete games and all that stuff. That's a different generation, so you can't really like live on it.
No,
but the dominance,
dude. And by the way, in 1908, 390 innings pitched.
Yeah,
I don't think Jacob deGrom has done that in the last 5 years combined.
Probably not, but amazing. So these top four, as good as any ever.
All right. Now we have our next guys up, and you got a lot of them here. So you got Marichal, Willie McCovey, and Posey. If you were going to pick one, who would it be?
If I have to pick one, here's the problem: is like Juan Marichal. Like, I believe he was like the first ever Dominican player ever selected in the Hall of Fame. I think that if I'm wrong, correct me, but it doesn't matter. Like, he's incredible. Willie McCovey. I mean, they have like an area of San Francisco named after him. Absolutely amazing player, MVP, Rookie of the Year. I have to go with Buster Posey. It's not because I actually don't know if he's better or not. I actually think arguably he is. It's just the generational. He meant something totally different. They won 3 World Series titles. He was the captain of those teams. He's the GM of the organization. He means more to this generation. He's their Juan Marichal. He's their guys. Like, he's their Barry Bonds. He's their Willie Mays. He's their, like, he will be a Hall of Famer. He's gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and it's gonna be incredible what he did behind the plate. He doesn't have the numbers he doesn't have any numbers to be a Hall of Famer. He has the leadership, the World Series titles, and like if Joe Mauer's a Hall of Famer, he's like the 3-time Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree with you. Joe Mauer still bothers me, and that one irks me a lot. All right, and finally, the guy who's on the team right now that could make it, of course, we're talking about Rafael Devers.
Logan Webb. Logan Webb is that next dude. You know what? If he becomes a Giant for life, his page is starting to get a little black, brother. Like, it's starting to get black in some areas. He needs better wins. That's the thing. He's never had a season more than 15 wins. He had 13 wins in 24. He's got 8 this year, but he's 8-6. He's having a good year, 2.62. He's an incredible pitcher. But to even remotely sniff this list, you got to get probably close to 2. Like, nowadays, had 250 wins, 300 wins, or like a ton of strikeouts, or go win the Cy Young 3 times, and we'll even consider you. You got to win the Cy Young 3 or 4 times just to be considered against Mathewson and these guys.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I was reading up on Logan Webb the other day. You know, he leads the league in quality starts. That was a little surprising. I thought it would be a guy like Skeens, but no, it's him.
Because he goes long. Like, he just consistently goes long. That's what she said.
And if you want to go long, if you want to be a pitcher like Logan Webb, where do you go?
Top Velocity Pro, my man. Come out, Top Velocity Pro. We will make you the best pitcher you'll ever be. We got it all the data, all the analytics, everything you possibly want from any of those big boy places. Come to me. We can do it. We can do it online. We can do it over the phone. We can do it at my place, and we'll make you the best pitcher, thrower, baseball player you'll ever be.
Now, before we end the show, David, I'm going to put you on the spot right here on the air because I need something from you, brother. This is important. We are most probably going to be going to Seattle for Ichiro's retirement ceremony. I have 2 cards that I'm bringing with me for myself. One of Ichiro, one of Junior, for them to each sign. I bought a card last night. Now, you have plenty of good Ichiro and Griffey stuff. I bought a dual Ichiro and Griffey card. Now, I can't go up to those boys and say, listen, I need you to sign all this crap. Griffey, I can get him to sign the card. He's not going to give me grief. Ichiro, if I speak to him a little in Japanese, he might not. But then to ask them to sign a second card, the question is, will my boy take that card and pretend it's his so I have the triumvirate?
You won't need to. We'll get a chance to talk to Ichi.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to go over there with a whole like, hey, Ichi, nice meeting you. Can you sign all this? Huh?
I can't now. Then don't.
But I'm just gonna get them sign one thing each. But I want that dual card. Can
I
you
want
do
something
that for me?
too. I want maybe I might not ask anything from Ichiro. I do have some shoes I want Junior to sign.
Yeah, okay, but here's the thing: at your house, you have a Griffey signed jersey, Griffey signed bottle of wine. I don't have this stuff. Yes, you'll get JD's shoes signed. That like we know that's gonna happen. But if you can get them, hey guys, can you sign this card? It's a dual card with both of them on there for your boy James. I mean, think about it. I don't ask for much.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yes,
we'll see.
Dude, I cannot wait.
See how the moment works. Like I hate asking for stuff.
Oh, I don't even give a shit. I'm telling Junior. I even told him, I'm like, by the way, when I see you, I got some shit for you to sign.
That's good.
Yeah, because I literally had to trade away the auto that I had, the Junior auto that I had that I bought for my Ohtani auto. So yeah, I need a replacement, and I got the perfect card for it too. All right. With all that being said, I'm James. He's Mr. 69. We'll talk to you next week.